All right, today we are talking about photosynthesis and cellular respiration. We're going to start on the photosynthesis slide, and then we're going to move to the cellular respiration part as soon as we're done with photosynthesis. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the chemical reaction that is occurring here. The first row is the chemical formula, and then the second row is going to be the words. So I've got slides with little boxes here, so if you're doing this on the computer, you can slide your text boxes over with the answers, and then if you're doing this on paper, all you need to do is write it in. So when you start out with photosynthesis, most of us remember that plants take in carbon dioxide, okay, and they also need water. So carbon dioxide and water, all right, and the plant takes this, and in the leaf, right, there's a chloroplast, which we'll talk about in a minute. It takes carbon dioxide and water, and it uses light energy to power this reaction. And what it's doing is it's making its own food. So its food is in the form of sugar, glucose, C6H12O6, like we've talked about in class. And it also gives us oxygen as a byproduct. So it doesn't need oxygen, so it lets the oxygen out. There are little pores in the leaf that send the oxygen out. It also takes the water in, or the carbon dioxide in. Okay, so CO2 we know is carbon dioxide, and H2O is water. Okay, and C6H12O6 is oxygen, and O2, oh my gosh, oops, that's oxygen. O2 is oxygen, and C6H12O6 is glucose. All right, so there is your chemical reaction. CO2 plus H2O gives you C6H12O6 plus O2. Okay, there's also, in your textbook, there is a picture of a leaf, and that has the chemical reaction on it that actually has the correct coefficients, because we've talked about how chemical reactions need to be balanced on each side. And we know that sometimes we need more than one molecule of a certain reaction, or we need more than one molecule to complete the reaction. So when we do this, we actually need 6 carbon dioxides. Oops, my text box is of course too small. And we also need 6 molecules of water. I'm going to have to make this bigger. And then when we create this, we make 1 sugar molecule, but we make 6 oxygen molecules. And that is the balanced chemical reaction, the one that is following the laws of conservation of mass. Okay, so we talked about that in class. So that is the completed correct chemical reaction. All right, so we have a diagram down here that's going to actually show you what the parts look like. So notice that these things are going into the plant, and these things are coming out, as in they're being produced. Not that the sugar is leaving the plant. That's not what that means. It means that it's being made. So we can guess what this is. This is going to be sunlight. Okay, and if you look at this one, this is a person with a lung, and it's gas going out. So we know that's going to be carbon dioxide. And I had the little CO2 to throw right here next to it, because we know that's what CO2 is. This is going to be water, which the plant is absorbing from the ground. Let's see the front. Wow. Okay. All right. So there we have that. And then leaving, we have the oxygen that is going to leave the plant through the pore. We know that's going to be O2. And then we know that we're making sugar, which is glucose, and that's going to help power the cellular respiration reaction, which we're going to do on the next page. Okay, So there's that. Now, let's talk about what happens here. We are in a leaf, which is where the chloroplasts are. So the chloroplast is where photosynthesis happens. This is where the chlorophyll lives. The chlorophyll is going to catch the sunlight. Okay? So the chlorophyll catches sunlight, and then we mix carbon dioxide and water with that, and the cell creates glucose, which is what the plant needs for its food, and it also gives off oxygen as an extra part. All right? So the purpose of photosynthesis is to make glucose, which is sugar, which is its food, for the plant to use as food. Okay? So there you go. There's that. All right. Now we're going to move on to the next page, which is cellular respiration. Okay? So cellular respiration also has a reaction, which we're going to have with the chemical formula. We're also going to use the words for it. So when we do this, we're going to have O2, which is oxygen. Okay, we're going to take the glucose that we just made, and we're going to take that, and that's going to create carbon dioxide and water, which are extra parts. We don't need those. The main goal of this is we're creating ATP. It's called Adenosine Triphosphate. That's the abbreviation for it. So we also know from before that we had to have 6 oxygens to make this work. We had 1 glucose molecule, which means we gave off 6 carbon dioxides and 6 water molecules. Okay. So when we put this in words, we have oxygen and glucose, which is sugar, gives us carbon dioxide, water, and ATP, which is in the form of energy. Okay, so there's your equation in words. Make sure you get that down. All right, this is the mitochondria. Mitochondria is in the cell. All right, so we take in oxygen in the mitochondria. Notice that we have this here. Okay, and we mentioned earlier that oxygen is O2. Okay, and we know that this is the glucose, which is the sugar molecule. And that is C6H12O6. We're going to undergo cellular respiration. We're going to make carbon dioxide, CO2, and water, which we know is H2O. And we are making ATP, which is energy. All right. So in the mitochondria are in the cells of plants, animals, and all eukaryotes. Okay, eukaryotes have a nucleus. So if the cell has a nucleus, which is almost everything except for things like bacteria, you're going to have mitochondria. This is where cellular respiration will occur. All right, so the purpose of cellular respiration is to make ATP. Why is that in parentheses? I don't know. ATP, which is energy. For the cells to use to do everything to keep the organism alive. That is what the purpose of cellular respiration is. So in a plant cell, we are making our own food and then returning right back around, and in the same cell we have mitochondria, so we're sending some oxygen and some glucose over there to create ATP, which is energy to do things to help the plant grow. In animals and other things that have to eat their food, we don't get to have this process. We have to go find our food, so we have to eat food which has sugar in it, and then we send that to our cells, and we make ATP or energy to keep us alive and help us do the things that we need to do every single day. So there you go.